Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly values, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey, everybody. How we doing today? How are we? I just wanted to tap in with a real quick live. I don't have my studio with me. I'm actually in a hotel right now because I traveled to Detroit to appear on Anton Daniels' platform. And let me just tell you, it has been an awesome experience. He is a super gracious host, Can you all hear and see me? Can y'all see me? Oh, you can? Oh, this is an extreme delay. Hold on. Okay, there we go. I was confused a little bit. Thank you, Emma Masters. I got my autograph book today. Thanks for the service you provide for Black women and the Black community as a whole. Oh, that's awesome, awesome. Those books are still getting into people's hands. I sent all those books so long ago. But it is awesome. It is awesome. Yeah, I know it's a little bit blurry just because this is not my normal stuff. So the camera is the camera at this point. So this is the laptop camera. So you can see that there's a big difference between how I usually live stream and the quality of my equipment, because this is just the laptop's camera. You think it's dusty? Y'all think that's what it is? The lens is dirty? So I'm not going to keep you guys long because it's blurry and things of that nature. So we're not going to stay long. You got your book yesterday, Stephanie? I said thank you kindly, all the way from Cleveland. Oh, okay. I'm so happy to hear that. Y'all think it's dirty? Let me wipe it. That a little bit better. That's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. But we're going to have to talk about the Ohio State football team. Okay. And the two players on that team. What happened was two Black young men were accused of sexual assault and kidnapping of an unnamed, so they're protecting her, an unnamed young woman who was at that time 19 years old. And what basically happened was they were accused of, like I said, sexual assault in 2020. So they have been fighting this case for about 3 years. They've been fighting this case, and they were finally not exonerated. They were acquitted at the trial. And that acquittal happened in about less than 4 hours that the jury deliberated. And the reason why the acquittal, because the young men had maintained their innocence the entire time. They didn't take a plea. They decided to go to trial with it. Now, as soon as those accusations were made, they were booted from the team and all of that sort of thing. So the trajectory of their lives was really turned around. Thank you, Pharaoh, so much. The trajectory of their lives was really turned around. And it turned around because of what ended up being a lie. The reason why the men were acquitted was because they had evidence, either it was visual, video, or audio, either way it was recorded on their phones, that she had given consent for the sexual act that took place. And once they presented that to the jury and court, that she had actually given consent to what took place, and that she knew what was taking place, she willingly was picked up by the young men and taken to their apartment and engaged in sex acts with them. Basically, she decided that it wasn't consensual, and she leveled the accusation against them. So it brings about a couple of different questions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share the screen real quick, because I want to read the article, but more than the article, I want to read the comments, because it was the comments for me. Okay. Former Ohio State football players are acquitted of sexual assault after they filmed the woman saying she consented. On Thursday, 2 former Ohio State football players were acquitted of rape and kidnapping charges after a 2-day trial in which one of the men testified under oath that he'd been explicitly instructed by someone on university staff to film consent in order to avoid potential legal charges or unwanted ramifications. In early 2020, an unnamed 19-year-old student at the university accused the defensive players Amir and Jason, I guess that would be pronounced, of raping her at their off-campus apartment. While their defense attorneys argued the woman had consensual sex with both men, but simply regretted it in the aftermath, court records and the woman's testimony tell a starkly different story. According to her testimony, on the night of February 4th, 2020, she was having consensual sex with one of the men whom she'd exchanged messages with sometime before. She says at some point she wanted to stop, but he and the other man then forced her to continue with both of them. A criminal complaint for the incident alleges that they grabbed the woman by her neck and forced her to her hands and knees before assaulting her. While Reap held the woman in place, Went allegedly forced oral sex on her right. Per court orders, the men stopped several minutes later and informed the woman that she was to confirm what happened was consensual via video recording. She testified she agreed to do so just to leave sooner. Hours later, she approached the authorities about the alleged assault. That following week, Reap and Went turned themselves over to Columbus police, and both players dismissed from the team. They were later charged with 2 counts of rape and 1 count of kidnapping, and the woman pursued a civil protection order. The video captured the cell phone via Reap's cell phone was played in court. While the footage is reportedly dark, the woman can be heard saying that she's crying and then agreeing to the question of whether the encounter was consensual. The next day, Reap and others witnessed Lloyd McFarquhar, who was a fellow former football player at Ohio State, took the stand. Both men testified the players were instructed to procure evidence that anyone that they have sex with consented to protect themselves from possible ramifications, legal or otherwise. Upon turning themselves in, Reap reportedly showed the video to police in an effort to exonerate himself and Went. Additionally, Reap's defense attorney played 4 short videos in court, which he claimed depicted instances between 2018 and 2019 where Reap recorded young women once again after sexual encounters in 4 separate videos. They agreed when Reap asked if what happened was consensual. They are either clothed or not shown on camera. I'm on the football team, and this is something we are just taught to do to protect ourselves, he testified. He told one of the women before recording, "It's nothing against you." Notably, Reap Norman Farquhar specify who at the university instructed them to film consent, but when contacted by the Columbus Dispatch, a football team spokesman, Jerry Emig, sent a statement saying, "In general, when the Department of Athletics speaks with student athletes about consent, we work closely with subject matter experts on campus and follow the university's well-established non-discrimination, harassment, and sexual misconduct policy. You'll see that page 1 of the policy defines consent as permission that is clear, knowing, voluntary, and expressed prior to engaging in and during an act. Consent is active, not passive. Silence in and of itself cannot be interpreted as consent. Consent can be given by word or action as long as those words or actions create mutually understandable, clear permission regarding willingness to engage in and the conditions of sexual activity. Notably, EME failed to address the consent was confirmed only after what allegedly happened between Reap, Went, and the woman, and in cases of all other encounters shown in court. One of the things is not like the others. The woman's attorney told the court of the recorded consent videos during closing statements. Listen to what those other women say, their voices, their demeanor, what they say and how they say it. Why was there a difference in their demeanor? Only one of them was traumatized by this. Only one was the victim of a brutal rape. Following the not guilty verdict, Mayer declined to comment, but Reap and Went's attorney told the dispatch that the system worked. The jury did a fantastic job discerning the truth and contrasting what Amir said and what his accusers said. If convicted, Reap and Went could have spent up to 33 years in prison, respectively, and both would have had to register as sex offenders. So now what I want to read down here is the comments. So that's such an unbelievably effed up thing to tell men to do. Every person who is responsible for dispensing that advice should be fired. Also, if I ever take hostages, I know the judge I'm sending the videos to convince everyone they're being treated well. So it does sound a little cynical, but what are the options? They could tell the players not to grape. They probably do, but the players probably think I'm not a rapist. So they're not going to do anything differently. And they could tell women students don't sleep with the football players. They'll grape you. And the students think, don't tell me what to do. I bet that right this very second, there are girls who would love to date either both of these guys. Seriously, unless we're prepared to revert to extremes of the past, what are the options? Yes, this is all very gross. If I had an encounter with someone, I'd be hugely insulted if they asked this of me afterwards, and I wouldn't do it. But that's easy for me to say as a grown woman. These are college girls who don't know any better. You understand that? You understand what's being said? They don't know any better. Grown. It's completely dehumanizing. On top of that, I don't see how it proves anything. If I've got one huge guy with a video camera phone in my face and another huge guy just off frame threatening to beat me if I don't say the right thing, what do you expect? Now, this is all just conjecture. Nobody said that this is what the situation was. I'm not saying these guys definitely raped her, but it's crazy to think this video counts as any kind of proof. And furthermore, the advice to do it doesn't dissuade the players from actually raping anyone. It just makes the rapey ones threaten the girl into making one of these videos after. The option is to not tell football players to do this. Why would you need to tell women not to have sex? Rape continues to be the only violent crime where the burden of proof is on the victim. Actually, no. The burden of proof is always on the person who is doing the accusing. If I say somebody stole from me, then I have to prove they did that because you can't prove a negative. Anyway. I don't believe consented on tape should be proof of anything in court without additional contextual evidence. Anyone scary enough to commit the crime in the first place is scary enough to intimidate their victim into fake consent just to escape without further injury. Not saying that's what happened here, but it's happened before. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. All right. Thank you, Miss Lou Casely. Thank you, guys. And thank you for your contributions. I really appreciate them. I really appreciate it. We got to talk about this. We got to talk about this. And this is why I named it what I did. Women can't consent. There's no such thing at all. This is where we're headed. That there's no such thing as actual consent. Because when we think about it, when you say that video isn't enough, audio is not enough, her signing something is not enough, her saying something is not enough, There is not any recourse that men have to protect themselves from these sorts of allegations, no matter what. Because what the precedent has been set is that consent can be revoked not only during the act, but afterwards. You can revoke consent afterwards because they conveniently, a lot of states have it where there is no statute of limitation for reporting a sexual assault. So this is why you have Mike Tyson having deja vu about a woman alleging that he raped her in the 90s, like 30 some years ago. Now, he already got accused of that and convicted of it, still maintains his innocence through the conviction. She finally came out and said that she didn't tell the truth. She came out and said that I was trying to cover with my dad and with my family. I didn't want them to know that I was out getting my back blown out by Mike Tyson when I was supposed to be competing in this beauty pageant contest. He consistently maintained his innocence to the point where he gets very angry if somebody tries to talk about it in a way that assumes his guilt. He doesn't like that at all. I've seen him get quite upset about it. The thing about it, though, is what we're saying is that if you get her on tape, you coerced her to be on tape. If you've gotten her on video, you coerced her to be on video. If you ask her before, well, she could have revoked consent during, so that's not safe. If you ask her after, you bullied her into saying yes after the fact. If you ask her during, that's demeaning for her. Why would you ask her that? So men don't have a recourse at all for protecting themselves from the allegation. Because see, all that you need is the allegation to ruin you. You don't need to be convicted. These young men are not ever getting back on that football team. So even if they had had the potential for an NFL career, that's done. Unless they go the backdoor route, a free agent signing, undrafted free agent or something like that. Thank you, Travel Dazzle said, I'm in Ohio, we already know, walking away. Exactly. And thank you so much. This is what we're talking about. If all of these contingencies can be brought about, the validity of female consent is a non-factor. Females can't consent. Do y'all understand where I'm going with that? Females can't consent. They can't. There's no possible way because females are so helpless in the presence of men that even their yeses can't be, the yes has to be questioned. The no can't be questioned, but the yes is always questioned. And there's no not putting yourself in this position because the position can be just normal sex that you having with somebody you're married to. In this country, if your wife say that you raped her, you raped her. Doesn't matter that you've been having sex with her, consensual sex with her for 30 years. That one time that she was sleepy or whatever, and you woke her up out her sleep because you wanted some sex, you raped her. She could go to the police and say, he raped me. She could have 4 kids by you, been married to you for 30 years, and you raped her. And guess what? You got to go to jail. All them times you done had sex with her, no problem. This time, problem. Do you understand what I'm saying? Thank you, G Money. Said they're leaving us no choice but to let them keep their goodbye kitty. Exactly. They are not leaving any kind of choice. Okay? They're not leaving anybody any choices. Thank you, Dee said those two players were amazing. What happened to them should be criminal. The gallows to her. And they're protecting her. They won't even say her name. Got their face plastered everywhere. Mugshot even. They've been acquitted, but their life is forever changed negatively for that. Here's what I'm getting to, though. A woman's consent can never be trusted, no matter what she says. That's the problem. Thank you. You can't see me. Said boom, came today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Okay. See, men don't have actual legal recourse for nothing. Okay. Her word against his, no matter what kind of video evidence or audio evidence that you have. Even if you make her sign a consent form, even if you, it doesn't matter. Her consent can never be trusted because she can always revoke it even after the fact. That's the deal. She can say, I didn't want to after the fact. Even if you film the entire thing and she looks like she's gone for it, she can say, he threatened me or I felt pressured into doing it. And this is why you see me engaged in sex. She can say that and have a case, is what I'm trying to get you to understand. She can say that and have a case. It's great because her friends laughed at her when she told them that she let you knock it down. It's great now. Now she can come up with a story. What's being said here, what people are missing, what's being said here is that women are incompetent. They are not competent to say yes because they are never at a point where they're developed enough to actually make sound decisions for themselves. You can't see me. Thank you so much. And my apologies. My book came today. Awesome. Thank you so much. This is the problem. She's never competent enough. And women don't understand that this is what is being said to them. She's not competent. She doesn't understand. What it's saying is no matter her biological age, she needs to remain in the underage minor status. She always got to be, see, dealing with her is always statutory. Dealing with her is always statutory. Okay? She can technically know what sex is, but she's not grown enough to understand sexual situations. She's not an adult enough to comprehend sexual situations. She's not adult enough to say, I want to have sex in this way with these men or this man. I want to have sex with him. Because what's going to be said is if she brings up an allegation, what that's going to say is, well, what were the circumstances and the context of her consent? Did she get was she coerced, or what was we're gonna now be trying to look for different context for it. Thank you so much, Kushinsi. Thank you so much. This is why the passport bros are created. Most U.S. women are dangerous to men these days. See, the level of threat is astronomical. The level of threat now is astronomical. Thank you, Charles Keys said that's why you pay her to leave. And see, that's not even safe. None of it is. They're making it where it's not safe at all. Having sex with them is not safe. Here's what we're doing. Thank you, Just My 4 Cents. Received my book a week ago. The red wrap was nice. Thank you so much. See, she ain't never responsible for nothing that she do. She's always a little kid. And women like victimhood status so much that they don't understand that that is now what the law is saying about them, that she's not competent enough to say that she's grown enough to do it. Here's where this is really going. Here's where this is really going. What this is really saying is that all heteronormative sex is grape, all of it. See, this is actually one of the tenets of what they call radical feminism. One of the tenets that is within radical feminism is that all heteronormative sexual encounters are all grape, all of them. There is no such thing as consent. No such thing. He never has consent. Because that's the ultimate goal of feminism. The ultimate goal of feminism is to completely demonize heterosexual male sexuality, no matter how it manifests. So a man saying that he wants a woman that's a little bit younger for her beauty and fertility, he's a predator. If he says, well, I like the women a little bit older, he's a predator because he's looking for a sugar mama. If he likes to wine and dine women, he's bribing them and coercing them into being with him. If he shares a drink with her, he's trying to ply her with alcohol to get, you understand? If he provides for her in a family setting, he's wrong if he does that without necessarily giving her a whole lot of money in her hand. Do you understand? Every interaction, every aspect of heterosexual male sex is grape. All of it. You can think that you are getting consent, but you're not. That's where they're going culturally, and that's where they're going environmentally. It's the only kind of consent that you can always break, no matter what kind of contract you sign or how you are recorded agreeing to it. Thank you, Black Vulcan said they are trying to depopulate our community. They're trying to make it go extinct. Yeah, it's supposed to be going extinct, right? In this sense, women are being reduced to children, unable to make concrete decisions about their lives and what they get into. By putting women in general in the category of a child where she's never quite mentally developed enough to understand sexual nuance, then she's always being raped. If he talks to him, all male sexuality is demonized. All heterosexual male sexuality is wrong. Heterosexual men are inherently predatory because their sexual appetite is aimed towards women. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? This is why I keep stressing it's heterosexual sexuality. Heterosexual male sexuality is always great because his sexuality, the nature of his sexuality is naturally predatory. That's what they get into. Those are the two things they want you to put together. You're always wrong. Men are always predators. Men are always preying on women. They are still dealing with this antiquated idea that women don't know what sex really is. And that when we get into sexual situations with men that are beyond heteronormative activity, one man, one woman, we always want to say that the women felt a way and that's why they were engaged in that sexual activity, instead of looking at it for what it is and saying women just be freaky and they want to go to swingers clubs and they want to do trains and they want to have orgies and they want to do prawn and they want to do OnlyFans. They know what they're doing. Know exactly what they're doing. They're not oblivious to that. It plays on the antiquated notion that women's sexuality is this pure thing and men corrupt them sexually. That it's always men corrupting women sexually. So if there are 4 men and 1 woman, they got to be raping her, because a woman would not consent to that unless it was under duress. Because after all, what is she going to do with 4 men? Get away? She can't. Thank you, Lionel Judah, for having a conversation and shaking hands is sexual assault. Just ask my boyfriend. Yeah, anything. The threat level is so incredible right now. So what are the solutions? What are the solutions? Because I'm not going to hold you long. What are the solutions? Thank you, Charles Key said, but wait, she woke me up. See, don't nobody care about that. Because heteronormative sex is predatory for men and not for women, because men penetrate women. They have a natural apparatus with which they penetrate. Women do not have a biological apparatus by which to penetrate anybody. So by that reason, her sex can't be predatory in the eyes of feminism. You see how backwards that is? It can't be. She can't rape. She can't assault. She can't be a sexual predator because she does not have a natural phallus. Y'all are asking for Sharia law. The level of threat is so high that women don't understand that they are asking for Sharia or a specific aspect of Sharia Islamic law. And actually, years ago, BGS Ibmore came to that conclusion. He was like, y'all want Sharia. Y'all want Sharia. You want men to protect you from yourself in society, not just individually. Thank you, Dutorian. Say exactly. It's like one has a gun, or the other one doesn't. Exactly. Thank you, Art Lexus. Says people laughed at Mike Pence for taking his wife to meeting with women, and now he is looking like a visionary. Yeah, you have to. You have to. You have to. Well, I'm gonna give you an example of that in real time. Told y'all I was here in Detroit to collaborate with Anton on his panel. Me and Anton have never been in any secluded space alone for any amount of time for any reason. Do you understand me? I am talking to and communicating with his wife, which is really the way it should be. See, if you're about doing business and you're not about the tomfoolery, this is what you do. You understand what I'm talking about? Thank you, Dwayne. Said love you, sister. Love y'all too. I'm talking to and communicating with Rita, not Anton. I communicate with Anton when I get to the studio. That's when I communicate with Anton. That's when I see Anton. At the studio, his wife present, possibly a couple of other people. That's the way it should be. Thank you, Philip. I've been waiting for this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you, romantic sister. Welcome to my home channel. Thank you. And it ain't about, it ain't even personal. And because I understand, well, I'm already missing anyway. So I want to deal with you. I want to deal with you. I need to deal with you. Right? I'm good with that. I am so good with that. Because that's the way I've been doing Islam anyway. When I'm in any type of situation where the husband and wife always do it right. Always talk to the wife. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Hello. Can y'all hear me now? It's muffled now. See, this is why I don't deal with just the laptop. Do you understand why I have all of that equipment in my studio? It sounds okay. Thank you, Okitomi. Said, hey, I caught a live show. The hardest part about living with them is the cowardice that the hyena shows. I'm sorry. The cowardice that the hyena shows and the disgust that they have in male sexuality altogether. They are neotenous. I'm not gonna hold y'all too long. Y'all are asking for Sharia. Specifically, you are asking for the aspect of Sharia that separates the genders in every area. That's specifically the area of Sharia that y'all are actually asking for. You don't know it. Y'all want society to save you from yourself. That's how they're going to do it. Because your threat level is too high. Nobody can even speak to you or say hello to you or shake your hand in a public setting, because then you'll claim that he rubbed your booty when he walked off, and there's nobody to say he did or didn't. So you're asking men to come up with a solution that fully protects women? Sharia. You can't be anywhere with a man that's not your husband. alone with him. And everywhere that you travel, you need a mahram with you. A mahram is a man that you can't marry. Your father or your brother or your uncle or your grandfather or something like that. A man that it is not legal for you to marry or have any sex with. That's a mahram. So y'all need a mahram. Y'all need a chaperone everywhere you go. Like somebody need to make it a law where women can't go anywhere without a chaperone. Period, point blank. And not a chaperone you can hire. It's going to have to be your biological family member. And if you don't have a biological male that is old enough to perform as a mahram, then you can't leave your house for more than a mile or two. And you better not be caught dealing or talking to a man alone, one-on-one, at any point in time. So you better get your Uber Eats in order and your ordering of your groceries and things like that to be delivered to you. Go ahead and get that together, because if you don't have a son or a husband or some male family member, not your cousin. Y'all do kissing cousins, so not them. Now, see, when I say that, y'all are going to be, oh, that's extreme. This is extreme. This is extreme. What you're doing is extreme. What you said, the threat level is extreme. Because y'all think them women is oppressed over there. Actually, order is kept. And I'm not saying those societies are and cultures are perfect, but what I am saying is that they got a lot less of certain things happening than what's happening here. They got a lot less of certain stuff. So the women who are covered by their husbands will be able to lead their lives without a whole lot of interference in their lives. You hyenas that don't like men around you except for transactions, y'all are going to be in trouble. They're going to have to do Sharia law. I'm prepared. I'm fine. And I'm okay because I'm covered. So I'm not going to have to switch up and do nothing else. You might think it's extreme, but it worked. And I'm not just saying that because I'm Muslim. I'm saying that because it eliminates the threat altogether. So you won't be in harm of being raped. Men won't be able to be falsely accused at that rate, and women won't be actually getting raped. So when you go to the doctor, you'll have to have a female doctor. The schools will be segregated by gender. And I don't want to hear it's a bunch of genders out there. Whatever you was born as biologically, that's what you're going to be. Schools, all public venues, separated by gender. Anything that you need in society, separated by gender. When you go to the store, if you're a female, get in the female cashier line. If you're a male, get in the male cashier line. So you can't say that some man unintentionally grazed your hand and you felt away. I'm telling y'all looking for Sharia and don't know it. Oh, that's extreme. No, you're looking for Sharia. You're looking for the way in which Islamic law keeps all of this stuff at bay. And like I said, I'm not even saying that just because I'm Muslim, but I understand that law and why it exists. So you can't have these types of allegations going on. Because men's lives are being ruined. Heterosexual men's sexuality is demonized to the point where if the men can't have sex with you under normal circumstances for fear that you could come later, not a day, not a week, but maybe 20 or 30 years later, and say he did something to you that he didn't, and she doesn't have to really prove it, but you have to defend yourself against it. Men are going to stop. They're going to problem solve, and y'all are not going to like it. Men are going to problem solve, and y'all are not going to like it. Y'all already don't like what they do. Y'all already don't like the things that men come up with to problem solve. Passport bros is a problem solve, and y'all don't like that. Y'all complaining. Y'all complaining about how men are solving these problems, but you keep mounting up the threat and the trouble, threat and trouble, threat and trouble, threat and trouble to a ridiculous degree. They're going to start problem solving. You're not going to like the conclusions. You're not going to like the conclusions. Thank you, Devon. Says Sharia law means black women will have to marry hyenas. Okay. Thank you, Real Bravado. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you again. G Money says it's just about here. Just look at the videos of hyenas crying about them not getting men. Exactly. Thank you, Miss Celine said patriarchy actually benefits women more than men. Exactly. Exactly. We're going to have to take you to a hard patriarchy. You hollering about the patriarchy now, but we're going to have to take you to a hard patriarchy. Thank you so much, Black Goku. So look what happened to Michael Irvin. He got accused of sexual misconduct by a woman just for having a 30-second professional conversation. He got pulled from the NFL Network. Thankfully, he had witnesses, and he's suing precisely. Did my sound is still okay? Because I think when I hit them buttons, the sound be getting crazy. Thank you, Corey. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I appreciate you. I really appreciate all of you all. Sharia law. You need protection from your own incompetence as women. You're incompetent. That's what they're saying. You're incompetent as women. So you don't need to be out and about with the adults then. You need constant supervision like a child. You need supervision like a child. Really, it serves as a protection for everybody. Nobody can get wrongly accused. That drops that down to a minimum. Thank you again, Charles Keys, that put your phone on record to the cloud all day. Yeah, basically. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm not going to hold you too long because in a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and do the interview. Check out the panel that I appeared on Anton's channel. I'm going to post that on my community tab today so that you guys can go ahead and check that out. It was an awesome talk, an awesome panel. I know that you guys are going to really, really enjoy it. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank everyone for their generous contributions. I really, really appreciate you guys showing up for me today. And so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye, Crimsonite.